Baseheads, what is up? It is your boy, the OG Soda Pop Kid, coming to you direct. This is March 13th, 11 days before my 61st birthday. I'm down here at the garage. I got a break from my job. Somebody canceled, and it's giving me enough time to come down here and shoot this video here real quick. I have an issue happening, people. That's what I called. Some of you alternator guys, you know that, and guys that may be able to help me with this issue, because I haven't had an issue like this for years on end. And then out of the clear blue, like a couple weeks ago, when me and my boy Dre took that last demo bass run that I posted up. We get back in town. This is what happened when we got back in town. Okay? All of a sudden, this crazy grounding noise started coming through the car. All right, with the system on. While I was in motion. Whenever we stopped and parked, the noise would leave. But when I was in motion, crazy ground noise. Like, it was loud too. And it sounded, at first, it sounded like there might have been some type of fire truck from a distance coming. That's what it sounded like it was coming, like a fire truck was coming from a distance. And that's what I thought it was, from stoplight to stoplight. And we ended up pulling over in Advanced Auto Parts when the noise wouldn't leave. And I realized it was from the car. Now, on our way, when we was basing, on our way from home, like when we got out to 22 East, when we was making a left on 22 East off of 66, coming through Delmont, okay, I smelled something burning on my side of the car outside, from the outside. I smelled something that was burning. It was pretty strong. And Dre thought that it was from a vehicle in front of us. Okay, and we get to Murray Automotive Electric, where I was going to go buy a new starter on our base run, because I make a turn off of 22 to come back when I do my base run, and I would usually pass up Murray Automotive on the way back, and I stopped there to pick up a new starter because I needed a new starter, because I just needed a new starter. All right, my starter had a dead spot in it, so I picked up a starter from there, which I had put on this past Monday. All right, and on the way back, when we got back in town, I was smelling the burnt smell again. I was like, man, there got that smell again, man. So it got to be coming from this car. And it smelled like something coming from under the hood. Okay. And I know I did have a power steering pump leak. You know what I mean? But technically it can't be leaking on anything, that's hot enough to make it start smelling like it was smelling. So we pulled over Advanced Auto Part and we lifted up the hood, and this alternator right here, the alternator that was here, was smoking, like smoke coming up off of it, like a grill. All right, and I was like, it's smoking. And I was like, damn, it's smoking and you can smell it. So I unplugged the field right there. So because we had to get back here, and I unplugged the field, turned the music off, and made it back here. Now, as long as the car was just sitting there, idling, and the music was on, not high but low, you didn't hear nothing. And so I removed the alternator, both of us, real quick. And I had a couple backups. Now, these are the 220s, stock 220s. I threw another one on, took that alternator to back to Automotive Electric when I took back the core for the starter. And he found out a rectifier had melted. I didn't pick it up yet. That's $172 for the repair. I didn't pick it up yet. He said a rectifier had burned up. Okay, and I realized when I go back to check these bluefin regulators that this regulator here was reading 16.5 volts, and that ain't where I set it. I set them at like 15.7, 15.6, between 15.6 and 15.8 is where I set these. But somewhere along the line it moved, I guess. And then this thing's not too accurate. Whenever I'm trying to set it, if it's at 15.5 and I turn it just a little, it'll jump all the way up to 16. You know what I mean? Which is telling me something must be a matter with this regulator if it does that. If it don't gradually move up, it just hops from one point to another. But the alternator was burned up. It was hot as hell. So we switched it out. We didn't pull the car back out that day. And granted, that day was 74 degrees that day. A nice day. Nice day. Okay, that was last Tuesday, not this past Tuesday. So, when I went up to the garage this past Monday to get the starter on, all right, after I put the alternator in, it was my time to test it on the way to the mechanic's garage up at your neighborhood mechanic, my man Ben Hank. I drove it up there, and it was cool until I almost got there, and here came that noise again. Now, it's like, here came the noise, here came the smell once again. Like I said, this is a different alternator. Here came the smell again. And I was like, man, here go that smell again, and my voltage was dropping as well. So I turned the music off, the noise went away, voltage had dropped. Got to the garage, was parked there for a minute, letting it run, just idle, no noise. You know what I mean? I'm looking around, I was like, man, this is a crazy ground noise. Well, the power steering pump was leaking because I overfilled it. And I guess if you overfill it, it'll seep past the cap. So it was seeping past the cap. For some odd reason, I thought it might have been the power steering pump making that noise. I thought that it might be the power steering pump making that whining noise, because it will make a noise if it's low on fluid. But apparently it wasn't it, because it would keep making the noise. It won't just stop. All right, so I'm saying to myself, is this alternator, is this regulator causing the alternator, you know what I mean? Because when I got back home and looked at the volts again, it's up at 16.5 volts again. And I was like, maybe that regulator is overcharging these 220s and causing that to happen, because on the way back from the mechanic, I didn't turn the music on at all. So without the music on at all, it wasn't making no noise at all, which means it wasn't probably drawing from the alternator. You know what I mean? You didn't do that on the way back. But like I said, I had the music on either. And that I did have the music turned up to a certain level on the way up there that was doing that. Even when we were driving back here, we had it cranked up to like volume 22. You know what I mean? And when I got back here, like I said, that regulator was reading high. Like, because I'll take the fields out of all of them and check each one by themselves. And yeah, and this regulator here was reading high again, like 16.5 volts. And I turned it back down. So I came to the conclusion, I was talking to one of my dudes, Devin Crawford, and they said that those potentiometers will move if it gets vibration, which I don't understand. I mean, the bigger regulators, it has a potentiometer with the cord on it, I can understand they move. I had them before. And they would hop around. But he told me to either put some CA glue on it so it won't move, or glue gun him on. And the alternator guy, the people that I take them to get fixed, now those guys don't know how to build high amp alternators like you Ohio boys. They don't know all that. They can fix stock alternators and starters and all of that, and they have all the electrical stuff you need at Murray Automotive Electric, but they don't do 320s and 370s, and they don't do all that. The these Dodges, small cases, I'm finding out this is small cases. I thought they were large case. Tony for CES had said that these was actually small case alternators. Okay. He had said just put a dab of silicone rubber on them. That's what the other alternator, Murray Automotive, let's just put a dab of silicone on it, it'll hold it. And then if you got to, you can pick it right off. You know what I mean? If you have to pick it off. He said that should hold it, but he was explaining that hot and cold or heat, they fluctuate like that, but it shouldn't hop up like that. It never would go downward. It always hops upward, which is kind of weird. You know what I mean? So that's what I need to know, because I never had that issue before, man. Now, I'm curious on if me throwing an extra amping, a ninth amping is causing it, but no, it should not be causing any of that because it wasn't causing it with just 8 amps, and that wasn't causing that wasn't happening. And the first demo run we did before, it wasn't doing that. It wasn't doing all of that, man. This just came out of nowhere, and it was nice this past Tuesday. It was nice outside, and I couldn't go out and get no bass. I was going to go out and bass, open up the speakers more, and wouldn't because that noise, man. I was afraid the noise was going to come back. Now I started checking all my RCAs. Now I switched those right there. I switched those out thinking it might have been them new RCAs that I just had down here to go from that amp to the newer amp. I thought maybe it could be the RCAs, but all my grounds are tight. Ain't no ground loose. Ain't none of that. Ain't none of that stuff happening. Ain't no loose grounds. I checked all that. The RCAs now that I have running from front to back are the new concepts. Even in my door speaker amps are the new concepts. Those are the Crystal series, but then the best new concepts is running from front to back. I mean, it's running in my line drivers, it's running out my Kenwood, it's running here to the back. And the reason why I ain't got the new concepts on none of these, because if these were Tiffany style RCAs, those new concepts, they grip like nobody's business, man. And when you get them on, it's hell to pay to get them off. They grip something nasty. Trust me, they grip something nasty. So when I got all the way back here with them, then I would put these are called monochord. No, monoprice, these here. And these are pretty good. I've had these on for years. I had these on my Terror amps and no problem. But then they didn't have the monochord that can stretch from this distance and split off like that. They didn't have them that long. So I had to get something else. But like I said, the new concepts, man, these RCAs, man, they need to put Tiffany's on these because these kind of RCAs, you probably been and broke them trying to either put on those new concepts and try to take them off or taking them off. You're going to break something. All jokes aside, you're going to break something. So that's why I'm not having them on up around here. All right? All serious. And then, see these American bass, I'm getting ready to replace those with the Stetson Bravo HQ 1800.4s. They're out of them. They're out of them at Resilient Sounds right now. So as soon as they're back in stock, I'm getting 3 of them to replace these. Okay, so I have matching amps. Plus they're smaller than these and stronger than these. You feel me? Yeah, they're stronger than those and smaller. It's a smaller space, so they fit in there a little better. So I'm waiting until they come back in stock, just to let y'all know. And those speakers are starting to open up too, y'all. They starting to, because, I'm realizing how loud it is at lower volumes, man, how loud it is. Because I had it up at that garage, turned down to like volume 9, walking around here trying to find a ground issue. And you can walk around the car and actually hear it on the outside. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so some of y'all might know, because there's some people that don't like these little blue transpos. Okay, and the ones that Jonathan Patrick sells, I was thinking about them getting, because he has the singles, the doubles, the triples, and the quad ones. I was thinking about getting one for these two and one for those two, because he got the ones that could take 2 alternators. I can put one over here and one over there. And some of y'all said, get the one for the 4. Well, I don't feel like jumping wire all the way from over here to one and all that. And get one there and one there for 2 alternators. And they got to be setting all of these. And maybe they're more durable than these are. Okay, but then I've known some people to get those regulators and complain about them as well. Yeah, and sit there and complain about them, and I'm looking to buy something like that and don't have no issues with them at all. And I'm going back, before I forget, I'm going back to the 320s too. I was talking to Tony about getting 4 320s because they can handle more I wanted to see the difference between these 220 stock ones and the 320. You know what I mean? What the difference was. I thought the 320s was bogging down my engine is what I thought. So the engine runs the same with these on them. You know what I mean? But for some odd reason, you know what I mean, that the 320s, when you're demoing, they keep that voltage up better. They keep that voltage up a lot better. As a matter of fact, when I compete with the 320s and I do a hard burp, it would drop to where it's going to drop and come right back like nobody's business as far as helping out that 190 amp hour C-Max back there. Them 320s was helping that. I mean, that's a heck of a battery. But the 320s was making it even better about, you know. And I even did a couple years ago, did a run with the car turned completely off, did a park and pound run with the car not running at all, just off the C-Max alone. And it wasn't hardly dropping then with nothing running. So, yeah, so 16 minutes in on this. I wasn't trying to make this no 30-minute video. But anyway, yeah, I have an extra one of those, technically. I have an extra one. I saved an extra one. And these things are just touchy, man. They kill me, man. I shouldn't have to be playing with these doggone things. Oh, another thing. Tell me if the internal regulators are better than the external. Now, I was trying to ask the other alternator shop from out this way, Murray. And he's saying it's like controversial that he would think the internals, but he was saying that as far as these alternators are concerned, that he's not sure or where they would go inside of these alternators, where an internal would go, if they can even go in these Dodges. You know what I mean? And he don't know where a set point is or where to set them. But the Ohio boys do. They know what to do in them big alternators. If the internal, and he said the internals is mainly made for cars with computers. So if I did run an internal in an old school car like this, how would I wire it? Because that field is just a field. It goes right to there. It's just one wire, boom. So how would I run those wires coming out of there if I had internals anyway? And if internals is better, I mean, I thought that if something was to go wrong, either it was actually the alternator or just them. And if it's just them, we can change it. But these things are $100 now. It used to be 60 something last I remember. Now they're $100. You know what I mean? The internal, you got to take the whole alternator back to the place and have them fix it. You know, send it all the way back to Ohio. So, in other words, I'd have to have a backup or two. Where you send the one away and, you know, pay to send it, wait for it to come. That's the aggravation of it, man. And, you know, instead of just taking it, sometimes I can just take the alternator to the place around here and they'll fix it right then and there, but they don't have none of those internal parts for no 320s or nothing like that. They don't keep those. Neither do they even know where to get them. You know what I mean? So that'd be the end of that. So I like to send that stuff like that back to wherever I bought it. And as far as that power steering pump, I know how to change that the way I designed this alternator bracket. I made it where it's easy to remove one of those things. Just take that pulley off and there's like 3 bolts. Boom. And then a hose or 2 and it comes right off, bro. I made it easy. Not like the original Oldsmobile brackets. There's all kinds of hell to pay. You don't have to take off the alternators or nothing. I mean the belt, yeah. But you ain't got to take the alternators off to remove that pump. I do got an extra one in case. He was talking something about the power steering pump boiling, the fluid boiling, and then it's going to make it leak or something like that, man. I'm like, okay, man, we didn't find no holes any darn where, but it was leaking, and I did fill it up too much. You know what I mean? So that's controversial. I want to know that loud-ass ground it's coming from, and it's got to be that alternator overcharging. If that thing keeps saying 16.5 darn gone volts going to these alternators, if they can even handle it or not. Okay, so I'm gonna post this, y'all. You know, and you geniuses, electrical geniuses, probably tell me what's going on now. I got grounds galore too. Grounds galore. Grounds, grounded to there, grounded to the chassis. Two grounded up there to there and going down to the chassis. Maybe they need cleaned. Maybe I need to go down there and sand a little bit and clean them. You know what I mean? But I'm going to keep saying it's that. You know what I mean? I got grounds, bro. I got grounds, and it can't be my head unit, because if it was a head unit, you hear grounding, period. It'd be, as soon as you turn it on, you'd hear it idling, sitting there, you'd always hear it. Because I had a Pioneer that the grounds was always, you always heard them. And you had to do that special little thing with wrapping wire around the doggone RCAs and all that BS, man. You don't got to do that with no Kenwoods, bro. All right, before y'all start saying, the radio ground, and wrap some wire around it. Yeah, that's Pioneers. For years I had that Kenwood. I do have a brand new one up in the attic that's never been opened to a backup. If that was the case, I'd just swap out radios, but no. All right, so give me y'all feedback, man. But I am gonna, Tony, I am gonna order them 320s. I'm gonna order those soon. 4 of them. Bam, bam, bam. And then we can do what we gotta do here. All right, so it's your boy, the OG, Soda Pop Kid. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and peace, people.